Good morning, everyone. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about the ninth standard social science subject, and the first lesson which I have completed, so that is Christianity and Islam. Yes. So, Christianity and Islam's were the two prominent religion in the world. Yes, as we know, and Jesus Christ was the founder of Christianity. Yes, and his parents' name is Joseph and Mary, and he was born in Bethlehem village near Jerusalem. Yes, and Jerusalem is a capital city of Israel. Jesus Christ, he didn't get proper education. Despite this, he acquired a lot of religious knowledge. And by this extraordinary power of intelligence, and interpreted the holy book of Jews in a simple language. Yes, and by getting knowledge, he became a very popular among the people, and he was known as Messiah, or the savior of the people. Yes, and day by day, his service to the poor and kindness was known to all, and he became very popular among all sections of the society. Yes, and gradually people considered him as godly man. Yes, so this is all about Jesus Christ's life. So Jesus Christ preached about God in simple terms, traveling across the Palestine region between his 30 years and 33 years age. Yes, and there are two sects in the Christianity. First one is Catholic and Protestant. Okay, and one more prominent religion is Islam. So it is originated in Arabia, and Arabia is a peninsula of West Asia, and it is basically a desert which is not suitable for agriculture. Yes, and the Prophet Muhammad Paygambar was born in 570 Common Era at Mecca. Yes, and his parents' name is, yes, tell me, childrens. Yes, Abdullah and Amina. Yes, but he lost his parents during his childhood, and he was brought up by his uncle. Yes, and then after he get married, he get married a rich widow. Her name is Khadija, and they had two sons and four daughters. Yes, and the holy book of Islam is Quran, and teachings of Islam's. Yes, Islam means submission of oneself before the God, and Muslim means the follower of God. So let us see teachings of Islam. That is, God is one. Yes, one should lead an honest and principled life, and should keep away from all the bad things, etc. So there are so many rituals like Kalima, Namaz, Roza, Zakat, and Hajj. So these are the rituals of Islam, and they contributed so many things like medicines, and invention in science and mathematics, and spread of knowledge. Yes, and also architecture is very influenced. Yes, so there are two sects in the Islam. They are the Shia and Sunni. So this is all about previous class. So let us see the next one topic. So that is the medieval India and political transaction. Yes. So India is a country in South Asia whose name comes from the Indus River. Yes, that is Sindhu River. Ancient India is often called the Harappan civilization because one of the ancient cities was called Harappa. Yes, therefore India is called as Harappan civilization. The history of India begins with the birth of the Indus Valley civilization. And in ancient India, Persia had dominance in northern India until the conquest of Alexander the Great in 327 before Christ era. And also ancient India is the Indian subcontinent from prehistoric time to the start of medieval India, which is typically dated to the end of the Gupta Empire. So medieval India refers to a long period of the history of the Indian subcontinent between the ancient period and modern period. Yes. So what is medieval India? So it is a journey between the ancient period to the modern period. Yes. So it encompasses the 6th to the 18th century. Yes. And also the period between the second half of the 12th century and first half of 13th century is recognized as the transitional period in Indian history. Yes, the period between 12th century up to 13th century. Yes, that period is known as a transitional period in our Indian history because so many changes we have seen in that period. Yes, transitional period indicates the predominance of the society to enter from one era to another era. Yes, and in this transitional period the Indian society entered the medieval period from ancient period. Yes, that is the ancient period has completed and it was started the medieval period. The Turks broke the political system of small kingdoms. Yes, and they also established an empire which had a strong centralized power structure. Yes, the Turks, they are the first empires who established a centralized power structure, and monotheism was expounded in the field of religion due to the influence of Islam. Yes, what is monotheism? Yes, that is belief that there is only one God. Yes, and Islam, that is Muhammad Paigambar also told that there is only one God and that is Allah. Yes, so all these developments indicate the beginnings of medieval period in India. Before the study of the empire established by Turks, it is necessary to understand the multi-state political system of pre-Turk period. Yes, so we have to study about the pre-Turk period. Yes, the rule of small kings is called as multi-state political system. Yes, the rule of small kings is called as a multi-state political system. And the study of multi-state political system can be started with the study of Rajput dynasty. Yes, so that ruled the western and northern India from 9th century to 13th century. Yes, here you can observe Rajput dynasty. Yes, that is mentioned in this map. So let us see Rajput dynasty. After the rule of Vardhanas of Shanta Sthaneshwara, yes, after the rule of Vardhana Sthaneshwara, most of the western and the northern India was ruled by Gurjara Pratiharas, Chandelas of Bundelkhand, Gaharwalas, Solankis, Parmaras, and many other Rajput dynasty. And by the end of 12th century, Rajput kings like Prithviraj Chauhan, Jaychandra Gaharwal, Paramardi Deva, Chandela were the powerful kings of northern India. Yes. So Rajput dynasties it started from the ruling after the 12th century. Yes. And there are so many prominent kings like Prithviraj Chauhan is there, Jaychandra Gaharwala is there, and Paramardi Deva, Chandela is there. These are the some powerful kings in the northern India. Yes, here we can observe the Rajput kingdoms which are situated in the north west side of the India's map. So let us see Gurjaras Pratiharas. The Pratiharas have claimed in many of their inscriptions that the Lakshmana of Ramayana period, a Kshatriya of Suryamsha, as the founding person of their family. Yes, the Pratiharas they have mentioned in their inscription that Lakshmana of Ramayana period and Kshatriya of Suryamsham as the founding person of their family. Yes, they are the founder of their family. They have mentioned in their inscriptions. But as per the available evidences, Nagabhatta is the founder of this dynasty. Yes, as the historians have so many evidence, and according to that evidences, Nagabhatta is the founder of this dynasty. Which dynasty? Gurjara Pratiharas dynasty. The Pratiharas ruled Sindh region by keeping Kannauj as their capital city. Yes, the Pratiharas capital city is Kannauj. Yes, and they fought back the frequent Arab attacks. Yes, Mihara Bhoja and Mahendrapala, the powerful rulers of this dynasty. Yes, there are two prominent kings. They are Mihir Bhoja and Mahendrapala. Yes, these two kings are very powerful in this dynasty. And they had defeated the Palas of Bengal and had extended their Pratihara kingdom till Bengal. Yes, and the Mihir Bhoja and the Mahendrapala extended their regions towards the Bengal. An Arab traveler, his name is Suleiman. He had visited the court of Mihir Bhoja and has appreciated the kingdom as it had peace. Yes, an Arab traveler, his name is Suleimana, who visited the court of Mihir Bhoja and he appreciated that. So it had a peace. Yes, it has a peaceful kingdom. Pratihara's rule declined during the rule of Mahipala, who succeeded Mahendrapala. Yes. So this is all about Gurjara Pratiharas. So next one is Gaharwalas. Gaharwalas, this is also one more prominent dynasties of the Rajput dynasty. So Chandradeva, the founder of this dynasty, he ruled the northern India, keeping Varanasi as his capital city. Yes, Chandradeva, he is a very prominent and he is a founder of this dynasty and he ruled keeping Varanasi as his capital city. Govind Chandra is another important ruler of this dynasty. Yes, after the Chandradeva, he was a founder, and one more person or king, his name is Govind Chandra. He is very important ruler of this dynasty and he extended his rule till Malwa and Magadha by defeating Palas. Yes, Malwa, yes, where it is? It is in Madhya Pradesh. Yes, by defeating Magadhas, he extended his empire towards the Malwa. And he also defeated the kings of Kalinga and Odisha. and the rulers of Kashmir, Gujarat and Chola had cordial relationship with Govinda Chandra. Yes. So next one is Paramaras. Yes. Paramaras came to important after the decline of Pratiharas. Yes. After the Pratiharas, the Paramaras is very important dynasty. Upendra Krishna Raja, the feudatory king of Rashtrakutas, founded this dynasty. Yes, the Paramaras dynasty was established by Upendra Krishna Raja. Yes, Dharanagar was their capital. Yes, Dharanagar was the capital of Paramaras. Bhuja is the most popular king of Paramaras dynasty, and he extended the Paramaras state by defeating Kalyani Chalukyas, Gangas of Kalinga and northern Konkans. Though Bhuja experienced ups and downs in political sphere, he remained undefeated in the area of literature. Yes, that is, he is very rich in the literature. Yes, and he himself was a poet. Yes, as the kings who came after him were weak, the Paramara dynasty declined. Yes, Bhoja Raja. Yes, he was a poet. Yes, and after his so many kings were weak, so therefore the Paramara dynasty declined. So this is all about Paramara dynasty. Next one is Solankis. Moola Raja first is the founder of this dynasty. Yes, who is the founder of this dynasty? Moola Raja first is the founder of this dynasty. Though Bhima first is the most famous king of this dynasty, he could not protect the Somanatha temple from Ghajni's invention. Yes, so Muhammad Ghazni, who invented India for 17 times, so Bhima first is very famous king of this dynasty, but he could not protect the Somanatha temple from Ghajni's invention. Yes, where is Somanatha temple? Yes, that is in Gujarat. Yes. So after him, Moola Raja II and Veeradwala were capable kings, and Moola Raja II defeated Muhammad Ghazni near Mount Abu. Yes, so Moola Raja II, he defeated Muhammad Ghazni near Mount Abu during the rule of this dynasty, and the famous Jain scholar Hemachandra compiled a Prakrit dictionary. That name is Deshimala. Yes, so famous scholar, yes, his name is Hemachandra. He compiled a Prakrit dictionary. Yes, that is Deshimala. Yes, Ulaf Khan and Nasrat Khan, the military generals of Alauddin Khilji, defeated Karnadeva and made the kingdom of Solankis a part of Delhi Sultanate. Yes, so Alauddin Khilji, yes, he was very important king in the Khilji dynasty. So she has two military generals. Their name is Ulaf Khan and Nasrat Khan. These two military generals, they defeated Karnadeva and made the kingdom of Solankis a part of Delhi Sultanate. Yes. So next one dynasty is Chandelas. Yes. Danga. Yes. Danga is the most famous king of Chandelas who prospered in Bundelkhand. And in the beginning, Chandelas were the feudatory kings of Pratiharas. And after the decline of Paramaras, Danga declared himself independent, and he took hold of the eastern parts of Paramaras kingdom and extended his kingdom by defeating Pala and Adras. Danga, who had the title Maharaja Raja, yes, that is kings of kings, he extended military assistance to Hindu Shahi kings Jaipala to fight back attacking Turks, and finally, due to the infighting and lack of unity among Rajput, Khilji Sultans conquered this kingdom. Yes. And last one is Chauhans. The Chauhan dynasty is the most prominent among the Rajputs, and the root of this dynasty is visible during 7th century. That is, they have a relationship from the 7th century. That is, there are some kings from the 7th century also. Yes, and the dynasty started its rule in the Ajmer region of Rajasthan. Yes. So Ajmer Dargah is also famous in the Rajasthan. Yes. And the rulers of this dynasty, Ajaya Raja, Vigraha Raja IV and Prithvi Raja III, made Chauhans the prominent rulers of the western India during 12th century. And Prithviraj Chauhana, known for his bravery, defeated the Chandelas of Bundelkhand and gaining Maheba and Kalinchar. Yes. So in the Chauhans dynasty, Prithviraj Chauhan is very brave king, and he defeated to the Chandelas of Bundelkhand and gaining Maheba and Kalinchar, and he gained the two places, that is Maheba and Kalinchar. Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori at Tarain. Yes. So there are two prominent battle. They are first Tarain battle and next one is second Tarain battle. In the first Tarain battle, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori at Tarain in the year 1191 Common Era. So Ghori wanted to extend his Ghor kingdom towards Sindh region, and Muhammad Ghori, who was severely wounded in this battle, led another attack towards Delhi in the following year. That is, in the 1191, the Muhammad Ghori was defeated by Prithviraj Chauhan. Next year, the Muhammad Ghori once again attacked on the Prithviraj Chauhan, and he defeated Prithviraj Chauhan at Tarain, the very place of previous battle. Yes, in the year 1192, the second battle of Tarain. Yes, in this battle, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated by the Muhammad Ghori. And Prithviraj is an embodiment of Rajput valor and bravery. Yes. So this is all about Prithviraj Chauhan. So you can see a Prithviraj Chauhan's image, and there is one more video related to Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Watch that video. Yes. Thank you.
Muhammad Ghori, who ruled Ghor, captured Ghazni and wanted to conquer India.
I have made 7 different attempts to conquer India, but each was in vain, all because of Prithviraj.
All the 7 times Prithviraj defeated Ghori, and Ghori was made a prisoner. When Ghori was brought before Prithviraj, "Release him! Let him go back to his country!"
Maharaj, think twice before releasing him. One day or other, he might become powerful.
Though he is a prisoner, we must respect him. Release him! Prithviraj generously released Ghori and sent him back home.
7 times I have been defeated. I will never retire until I defeat Prithviraj. This time I am confident of victory, as Jai Chand has promised to help me. He is my ally. This is my chance to defeat Prithviraj.
Thus, with the help of the treacherous Jai Chand, Muhammad Ghori raised a big army.
Let's march towards Delhi.
at the same time in Delhi.
I have to act immediately. Our kingdom is in trouble. Nowadays, Prithviraj never allows anyone to meet him. Only way to inform him is through a letter.
Chand wrote a letter which carried the message of the enemy's plan, and it was delivered to Prithviraj.
A letter, that too from my friend. Shame on me. I neglected my duties as a king. I should delay no further.
But by this time, Prithviraj's army had grown weak and shaky. He gathered the remaining soldiers and led them to face the enemy. Soon the armies were fighting each other. Prithviraj and his soldiers fought with exceptional courage. But Prithviraj's small force could not bear the onslaught of the huge army. Prithviraj was captured and was taken to Ghazni.